I mean, that's the thing, right? Is that VTubing is still in its younger stages, realistically speaking. It hasn't aged out of its, people in the middle region that are treating it still like competition, right? Like, I remember 2016 art YouTube, right? And there's still some people that do it, but it's not nearly as bad as it used to be. There's actual tutorials now for, like, shit that you're looking for. But, like, 2016, 2017 art YouTube had a really big problem where it would be, here's this tutorial on how to do this thing. And 90% of it is, use my brush, it'll make it easy. And it's like just a slightly altered G-pen. They're like, this is how you do it. They don't teach you how to, like, render hair or anything. They're just like, use my brush. I swear, it'll just magically make your hair look good. I mean, that's part of the thing, right? Though, to go back to the point, is it just hasn't aged out of it, I guess is the best way to put it. We haven't gotten rid of our Jennifer Browns, so we still have freaking, you know, people that want to try and stepladder their way up, focusing exclusively on trying to freaking market the shit. And it's not helped by the fact that there are some people who genuinely are tossing out advice of, oh, it's not a community, it's a market. That's incorrect. It's a medium. You can do it, like, and want to get paid and do work and whatnot for it. Telling people that they have to be cutthroat and take advantage of people and try and nestle their way in close with people that are big is not the kind of advice that you should be spreading. And then the people that are freaking telling that advice and shaming people for freaking trying to treat their community like actual people come out like 4 months later and it's like, oh yeah, they've been manipulating, and oh hey, they've been trying to freaking, like, take out what they classified as friends before. I do find it a little funny, like with the most recent thing, that I sat watching the VOD of the stream because it was connected to someone else that I was watching, and I'm like, this is some toxic mentality to have for it. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, yeah, the toxic mentality was going on in the background tenfold. Go figure, if it leaks out the sides, it's probably worse than the center of it. One of the people that was there and was saying, oh yeah, if you don't do X, Y, and Z and freaking treat it like a market, you're just going to freaking be wasting your time, blah, 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 is like, isn't, like, acting surprised or anything, but they're, like, trying to be like this, oh yeah, the truth came out, prophetic, blah, 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 and it's like, you have the same fucking mentality. I would not be surprised if this came out for you freaking in, like, a month, dude. Or, like, my own personal brain spike that's been going on. That's what I mentioned a couple days ago, where freaking I noticed, you know, the tendrils wrapping around elsewhere. And I was like, at this point, I kind of want to actually put my freaking foot a little bit on the gas out of spite. It happened again today to a certain degree. I mean, it's nothing new, but I knew the moment that I saw the interaction that I'm like, okay, that's going to happen. I really do wish that people just could chill out and, like, stop trying to treat this like fucking Hollywood. Like, there's people that have experience in those kinds of freaking portions of the industry. And they're like, yeah, I don't want this to be like my fucking job. Like, Christ knows that I don't want to wind up in a state where, like, I have to wake up at 6 a.m. every single fucking day, drive for 3 hours, and work in the sun and heat for 6 more hours for like 3 months at a time. And then I get to do it all over again every weekend. And like those are fun. Like I enjoyed doing it, but like I don't want to have to do that for like my hobby. But I don't want to like have to get up at 5 a.m., drive for 3 hours, do 3 sets of freaking practice before the sun's even up, nearly break my neck because of all the dew on freaking stage, and then freaking spend the rest of the day in the sun and heat and humidity in non-breathing clothes. I mean, at that point, like, we're not talking about VTubing anymore, but, like, you get the idea. I don't want my hobby to freaking be turned into, like, the requirements for a professional kind of industry, right? Not really. It only really... I mean, that's the thing, right? That's the kind of mindset that leads to burnout. Is the... If I stop for even a week, everyone's gonna leave. And I know several people that have, like, had breakdowns because they're like, I'm sick, I'm actually freaking dying, I need to take a week break, okay? And then they freaking cry for, like, an hour because they're afraid that, like, they're going to lose their following as a result of it. But, like, you might see a negligible number go down because they, like, lose track of the rhythm, but you're not going to just drop from, like, 500 down to, like, 200 because you took a small break. The fans aren't fickle, is the thing. The fans... Your actual fans, which are normally, like, your biggest supporters and whatnot, the only time that they're going to leave is if you, like, fuck them over something. The algorithm is fickle. It's like any other industry, like... If you have people that want to be there for you, they're going to be there for you, whether you take a week break or if you stream every single day. I mean, I've had people, when I was doing shows, that have gone across the nation, or crossed entire nations in order to see particular shows, because they were fans of the group that I was a part of. Not because of me. Like, I was very, very new during these. But the algo, on the other hand, is an uncaring machine that only cares about the numbers and goes, okay, what is it that people are looking into and watching for X amount of time? Okay, they're looking at this for X amount of time. We're gonna shove that in more. I think that that's a misconception that a lot of people wind up having, especially due to the people that have these toxic mentalities that constantly want to spout, oh, you have to treat it like it's your 9-to-5 job. If you're not freaking putting this much effort into it, you're not going to get this amount of payout. If you don't do this regardless of how much you want to, you're not going to freaking do this. If you don't freaking crunch numbers for 17 hours between every time that you're live, fuck you. You're going to lose. I don't consider myself important, no. But I do not consider myself important. I mean, I'm important to certain people, but I'm not, like... You're not going to hear my voice in, like, the English translation of that new movie from the guy that did Your Name. I'm not like Sayu levels or like Mimcubus levels where Mim's actually been doing voice acting since I was like in single digits, I found out, which is terrifying. I am like baby comparatively. And then obviously, like, people know Sayu and Monarch because they talk frequently about, like, their stuff. Especially making jabs at each other because, haha, I'm friends with you. Haha. you can't like this character the same way everyone else does because I'm gonna voice them. Fuck you. Haha. Which is like, obviously it's just like playful jabs like freaking close friends do, but not like actual fuck you kind of deals. But like, it's funny. I don't have that kind of imprint on the industry, as it were. I just have a very wide net as far as things that I've dipped my toes into, my finger in a lot of pies, and I've learned a lot of things from people that have a lot of experience in things, which is why I can talk about, like, PR stuff, like I did talking about Cinder the other day, and how she may or may not be having issues with coming back because some of her more rabid fans are being shitters and causing bad PR. Because, in the first group that I was with, the treasurer and PR person were also part of, like, the cast because it was, like, a small-ish thing. I see patterns, and I have, apparently, according to Kraka, I have a better feel for people than I give myself credit for. I have a better sixth sense for how people actually are than I think I do. I still don't think so. I don't know. That one is a trauma thing where I definitely don't think that I have a good feel for people because for a long time back when I was in high school, I used to freaking think that I could read people and their intentions a little bit better, and I was way off the mark, and my brain would bias the fuck out of it. I don't know, according to Crack, I'm good at calling that shit out, so it's nice to be cautious for certain people because some people definitely do put up a front. I don't try and, like, see anything in particular in people, there are definitely certain things that trigger certain portions of my brain that go, this is going to end badly. Or like little observations about how people work. I don't like to do like a whole bias kind of deal really that much. At least not like when it comes to negative. Because there's definitely certain people that like, my bias goes, be cautious to like, size to be honest. Like, I'll freaking mentally go, oh, hey, they're of this size, they freaking do this much X, Y, and Z. And I'm only this much, and then I'll freaking overthink, and then I wind up having instances like Wolsk where we're friends, but I'm afraid to reach out. Or like Mako, where we've been mutual since I've started being a VTuber, but I'm afraid to reach out. Despite the fact that, like, Mark has told me multiple times, if you've been mutuals that long, you can at least reach out to the person. Even if you don't vibe, like, as well as, you know, freaking whatever, then you can at least interact. I went through, like, 3 different people before I finally got the confidence to reach out to Wolsk for VTuber Vault. Despite the fact that we've been mutuals and, like, friends and X, Y, and Z since before I was a VTuber. And even, like, when I reached out to Kraka for VTuber Vault, we had been friends for, like, 2 years, 3 years. And I freaking was still like, yeah, but I'm afraid because I'm reaching out for, like, a collab thing, and my brain starts to go into, to be blunt, goes into optics mode, because in my brain, if there's even, like, a less than 10% gap, like, I could probably have 500, and reaching out to someone with, like, 550, I would overthink and think that it looks like I'm coattail riding. Or, like, if I'm talking with someone who's, like, I don't know, at 10 average or something, freaking, I'm like, oh shit. I'm freaking, despite the fact that we're friends and we talk and we, you know, hang out off stream, it's the moment that it's on stream that my brain goes, especially recently. Since one of my big gripes as of recent has been particular instances of people very clearly trying to take advantage of the game. Or, you know, the drama happening like once a week of freaking they tried to gain X, Y, or Z through me, or freaking they've tried to freaking screw me over, blah, 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 fucking take your pick on however they want to freaking label whatever shit's going on this week. That it just adds to the overthinking of, does this look like I'm being a hypocrite even if I'm not? Does it look like I'm freaking just trying to freaking ladder climb even if I'm friends with this person on the outside? And it's just, you know, brain worms that freaking... brain goblins, I guess, is the operative one for that one. Whispering in my ear, "You're no longer special. You're no longer doing this yourself. You reached out to someone that isn't within this range. You reached out to someone aside from Teber, who you... like your brother, freaking... or your sibling." My brain goblins are like worse critics than anyone would actually be for me. Because I see like anyone that I want to reach out to, and I see that they're like, they don't care. Make a collab like 2 weeks ago with someone that was averaging 10. Wolsk regularly goes with single-digit people and has come onto my freaking stream like 3 different times. We're friends. Like, no one that actually matters cares about this stuff. And yes, I am saying that in the grand scheme of, like, this particular thing, I don't fucking matter, because I'm shitting on myself and freaking psyching myself out. Then I see people that are just freaking grabbing what they can in order to freaking try and ladder climb, and I'm fuck, dude. I don't need to be like a freaking I don't need to be anyone like massive or special or anything in my brain. I do want... it's mostly a thing of... I mean, I guess in a similar vein to Lily, right? Where I want to make Mom proud, right? To a certain degree. Because she... I mean, obviously, freaking was like, hey... it was like the phrasing of it. Like, she's obviously like, oh, get a conventional job for a bit. And that's like, until things take off, right? So I want to, like, make her proud for believing in that I had a chance, right? Even when I didn't believe. And then every single time that I reach a goal that I set myself, I have that little bit of pride, but I also feel that sting, because it's like, if there's an afterlife, she knows, but like, you know, I'd like to have been able to tell her directly, you know? And get, like, a vocal congrats. I think that's part of why the other thing stung even more, like, just because of, you know, that being one of the banners that I freaking carry around all over the place, and it's like, this would have been perfect. And even Kraka agrees, hey, you would have been perfect for this thing. And I just didn't pass the number count. Yeah. Doubly so when you see freaking certain particular, like, instances where you're like, zero connection prior to this. And it's not even like a freaking... like, I can get, like, some people that... like, there was a trend going on Twitter where you just, like, reach out to people you look up to. And that's one thing, right? There's a difference between, like, that and, like, sure, fucking... maybe you get one response, that's chill and all, whatever. And it's, you know, if you looked up to them, then that's cool and whatnot. And then, like, I am going to specifically, systematically look in my pocketbook and, like, me going through looking, oh, let me freaking grab that one dude that does shows down in the Bahamas. Let me fucking... oh, this guy, he freaking owns a cruise ship that he does shows on. Let me call him up. Oh, hey, look. Here's someone who is like a big star down in Brazil. Let me call him up. We've passingly talked one time, and they're tangentially related to my old boss. Let me just toss that out. Where did all these people that are watching my new show come from? I can't believe they all love me. I watch a chunk of them. I mean, obviously I have a lot of Numi's music on, like, this playlist and whatnot. And obviously, like, I look up to Dia and, to use her current name, Rayora, because they're two people that, like, and Juniper, because they're, like, all three of them are people that inspired me to learn how to how to, like, model and rig and make my own models and shit, right? I mean, fuck. Juniper Cup right here. You say that, but, like, if it weren't due to the situation that's currently going on and all the shit she's going with, she might actually consider it. I don't know if you'd get a yes, and I don't know what the percentage rate is, but it's a non-zero chance is the thing. I think that there are certain instances where it is a 0 chance. Like, if I were to reach out to, like, Numi, probably, and be like, hey, do you want to collab, like, I don't know, freaking next week or something, blah, blah, blah. It'd probably be a 0 chance. We're very, very, very close to a 0 chance to where it might as well be a 0 chance. Because, aside from me being a fan of her music and whatnot, there's, like, 0 direct connection. Like, if I were to do that, like, even I would call myself out as, like, you're just doing this for the name, whatever, fucking, right? Even, like, me that's confident enough to reach out would call out me that's confident enough to, like, do that kind of shit. Would be like, alright, bud. Chill the fuck out. And I genuinely believe that would be a 0% chance. I mean, that's what a lot of people want to do anyway. Like, once you get to, like, a certain degree, you're going to have those kind of, like, caution things for whatever. And people are you're going to want to, like, not want to just see someone dip in, grab freaking whatever, and then dip. So you're going to be like, alright, well, we got to freaking vibe and whatnot first. And it's a thing that, like, should be, like, standard across the board, right? I mean, those people are 90% of the time just engagement farming. They're doing freaking checks on freaking numbers and being like, oh, well, this person checks my boxes. I will reach back out to them and whatnot. I think I've ran into one person that isn't just engagement farming. Like, I don't know her name off the top of my head. I'm in her server, actually. Name's Sunny. But she actually, like, was, hey, I want to make genuine connections. Does anyone want to, like, actually make genuine connections? And then freaking, she actually made a server where I don't think I've seen a single person actually collab in it. It's just people chilling. They'll join VC and, like, work on art together and whatnot, and it's chill. And, like, I think that everyone should either go into the space knowing or should have an early experience of someone who's just trying to freaking do that so that they understand. They should have an experience with someone just trying to, like, network connect kind of deal, like it's some sort of business, so that they have, like, that, hey, maybe we should actually understand if we vibe first. Because, like one of my earliest collabs, right? We didn't check or anything. And it did not go well. On the opposite side of the spectrum, there's, like, Ray, who I'm friends with and vibe with. And If I didn't vibe with Ray as much, or we were just getting randos for tonight's collab, I would have said no. All of them are friends with Ray, and I'm like, I vibe with Ray, and they vibe with Ray in a similar way. So, at the very least, we have some wavelength that's going to work, and it was fun, and it was nice, and I freaking actually... It was so nice to actually have something to take my mind off of all the shit that was going on in my brain right before we started. But I definitely think that people should, like, try and vibe with people more before they try and jump in. But some people just want to game the system and then wonder why they wind up freaking at a ratio of 7.2k followers to CCV. You can get shouted out all you want. If you don't actually match the wavelength that the people are used to, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, you can collab with 100,000 people. I don't know if I'd freaking... I don't know. Who's a good freaking reference point here? A good reference point is kind of Weedum Boys. Rest its carcass. Like, we're friends, and, like, off-stream and whatnot, right? But on-stream, we really didn't have that kind of same wavelength vibe for how we do our stuff on-stream. And, I mean, it didn't really work. Or, like, if I were to reach out to... Fifi would probably be a good point, actually. And, like, a lot of her stuff very much focuses into, like, more lewd, raunchy kind of stuff, right? I create that kind of, like, stuff artistically, but I don't really lean into that for... I don't know, if I were to reach out and get, like, the weird off chance that she accepted, like... I guess that's true to a certain degree. But, like, if I were to collab with her for some reason, and then, like, gain, I don't know, a record number of, like, 1,000 followers from her somehow. I don't know. Because it's like, oh, yeah, we're collabing, blah, 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 blah. We don't really do the same kind of region kind of deal. So, people probably wouldn't, like... There'd be a little bit of retention, obviously. But, like, I don't think that... Say I reached 1,000 during that, right? And had, like, 1,000 active watchers. I don't know what Fifi's numbers are. I'd probably come back, and I'd probably get a couple, like, a little bit of retention, right? But I'd probably be, even with that 4-digit number, probably only be in double digits. Like, just because of how much of a gap there is between our flavor of creation and content, actively. And I'm talking, like, maybe low double digits. Because it's different flavors. There's obviously some people that are going to want a variety of stuff to watch, so they probably are going to check in occasionally. But I guess it's like the best reference point that I can really give for your average coattail ride kind of deal, and trying to freaking just game the system like that. So, like, obviously, a lot of people don't take this kind of shit into consideration, right? So they'll, like, throw out, like, 80 fucking nets, and only really keep the quote-unquote big fish. And sure, that number that has follower right next to it might look fancy to, like, certain other people now. But the number that they're thinking about, and, like, if they're trying to do it for, like, work and whatnot, most everyone else is going to be thinking about is going to be the number that turns red while you're live. And when that number is less than, like, 1% of your other number, then, I don't know. It's gonna start raising some eyebrows, like, all across the board. Yeah, that's the thing about it, right? Yeah, people do assume that you're follow botting. They're gonna think that you're view botting if you keep freaking tossing out these nets anyway. Say, like, I get freaking pointed at in, like, a major thing by Juniper, to put something more realistic rather than me freaking randomly throwing something out, right? And then I get, like, I don't know, 10% of people that might be interested, And then I go from my 5 to 105 or 150 or whatever. And then, like, I don't know, that, like, maybe the trickle off would lead to people not thinking as bad, but, like, and then it drops off, like, sharp next day or something like that. Because they don't vibe with me in that kind of way. Hey, guess who just bought bots for a single day to try and freaking game the algorithm, blah, blah, blah. That's how it looks from the outside. I mean, that's another thing that, like, there's so many things that go into it. And in the particular instance that I'm talking about, there's more that goes into it than that. Like, obviously, there's the freaking trying to throw out nets. Freaking trying to freaking pull in some, like, big name in order to freaking get some kind of flow in there. Place myself right next to big person in order to freaking, you know, maybe a little gimmick comes in here. But then also, there's the aspect of there are certain things that are going to turn people away because you're not freaking taking anything else into consideration. Even, like, without that, you've also got freaking problems like, oh, maybe you've got, like, bad actors or something that you don't want to prune because you're caring more about the numbers than the actual community. But I also like just talking about, like, background stuff. It's the thing, I could probably make a decent manager. I know my shit, and I know how to read this shit. I'm just very, very bad about actually implementing it because it actually requires work. I could probably help someone get off the ground. Me actually implementing it? Fuck no. And then obviously if I'm running, like, my average, if I go based off my, like, Twitch tracker statistics, don't go off Twitch tracker, it's always wrong, but 3, someone's gonna go, oh, you only get 3, why do you think that you're qualified to talk about this shit? Which is something I've seen. There are people that are very good at, like, expressing and, like, reading the numbers and whatnot, right? But they are like me, where they're shit at implementing it, and they're like, I'm offering my services, and they're very cheap, and then the person's like, I'm not paying $50 for that, you only get freaking 50 CCV, and it's like, first of all, that is quite a bit in the grand scheme of things. Secondly, just because someone isn't there's a lot more that goes into it than just knowing shit in order to freaking do things. Skill, not talent. Because everything that they do is a skill that can be learned. Aside from, like, maybe singing if you're outright tone deaf. People forget how much goes into, like, the entertainment industry. Like, there are, like, a lot of genuinely talented people that either just don't get noticed or don't have the kind of backing to do so. The person that did the actual music for Mouse's most recent song, the opera song, is very talented and is very skilled in that field. And due to lack of luck with their parents, got fucked over as far as a big break that they would have originally gotten. And got lucky that they got noticed for, like, Mouse in this case, in order for that. There's a chance that Mouse might have never noticed them, or, like, or they not caught any chance to, like, reach out or anything. Or that their paths just never crossed, because that's also just a chance. Like, even with the size Mouse is, there's a chance to just never cross. Or the person that did the video Myth's Bad End, who later would go on to do Ash Again's music video. There's a chance that Myth's Bad End never gets noticed, and then obviously they don't get noticed by Hollow, and they never get to do the music video. There is a good chunk of it that goes into a good chunk of luck. You can manipulate your luck in the field. Like, this is definitely a field that I consider that you can manipulate your luck to a certain degree if you play things wisely. There's also just, you know, there is luck that goes into it, even if you manipulate the luck a bit. Like, a lack of luck is not going to... Manipulating the luck is not going to convert 10 into 10,000, right? You can manipulate the luck to turn 10 into 100, but it's much harder to freaking turn 10 into 10,000. You can continue to manipulate the luck in that way by doing specific, like seeing how things work and being smart about it. But I'm talking mostly in the art field rather than like the VTubing field, because I've seen plenty of artists that are very, very, very good artists, but I'm like one of their only 20 followers, right? And then I've seen plenty of those in my recent cleanup of like the people I'm following, where I'll see like, I swear I'll get back to art, published October 24th, 2023. They just never got noticed, despite being very, very good artists, and it makes me sad every fucking time I see it.